Okay, so we've done step movement, continuous movement, key pressed. Actually, I want to change this to key down / key up movement, because that's what the actual events are, right? Where we had a speed that we controlled with our down event and our up event. Now we're going to do keyIsPressed movement. Now, the effect of this one is going to be the same as this one, that when I hold the key, the stuff will happen. Okay, so in some ways it's interesting. It's the same effect, but it's just a different way to do it. So what I'd like to do is, again, we'll copy and paste this, or yeah, I'll copy and move that down here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the whole function, because this one is important that we have the key down. So copy. Sorry, let's do both of these at once. Copy, and I'm going to paste that down here, and then we'll select it all and comment it out. Just because I want to save that if I want to go back to it later. And now we're going to do the keyIsPressed movement, and this is the same thing. So just copy and paste. Okay. Now, the key differences here are we don't need speed variables. Actually, we could still have the one speed. We don't need the x speed and the y speed. And we're not going to continually do that. Okay, so we'll get rid of that, because that was that continuous movement. What I need to do is, I'm going to have some more global variables. I could do them in the player objects, but I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do a let arrow right key pressed, or arrow right, let's just call it pressed variable that is set to false. Let arrow left pressed be false. Let arrow up pressed be false. And let arrow down pressed be false. Okay, so I'm going to have these variables that I want to control, and they're going to end up being false and true based on key down, key up. But before I do that, what we're going to use these variables for is in our draw function, we're going to check, hey, continually check, is this key pressed or not? So if arrow right pressed, right, if that evaluates to true, then what I would like to do is go player.x plus equals player.speed. Right, that's speed of 5, which I can change to 2 or 3, whatever I want. Then I'll do the whole, I could do an else if. Let's start with an else if. Arrow left pressed, player.x plus equals negative player.speed. Else if arrow up pressed, player.y plus equals negative player.speed. We're going to move up. Else if arrow down pressed, player.y plus equals positive player.speed. Okay, and I should add a comment. Whoops, I should add a comment above this saying, you know, move player based on what key is pressed / held down. Hold down, held down. Okay, and right now, obviously, right, none of the keys, I press the keys, those variables are false all the time. If I change arrow up press to true, it should now move up. Okay, so we know that the variables should work. Now all I have to do is control these variables with my key events. So that's where, hey, if arrow right, I'm going to go arrow right pressed is assigned true. Arrow left pressed is assigned true. Arrow up pressed is assigned true. And last but not least, arrow down pressed is assigned true. Awesome. And then I'm going to copy and paste this into here. I don't have x speed and y speed anymore, so I'm going to replace that. And here, all I need to do is false. And I could have done find replace, but that's okay. False, false. So the key up will set the variable to false. The key down will set it to true based on what key I press. And now I should be able to do the same type of movement. But I can't go diagonally. Okay. All right, so I don't know if this is that much better, but in some ways it's kind of cool having the keyIsPressed variables, right? The arrow right pressed, arrow left pressed. If they're pressed, move, change by my speed. I think that's pretty clean. Although we still have the true and false stuff down here. Whatever, it's another technique. Sometimes this comes in handy for different methods you might want to use for animations or anything you want. To make it go diagonally, that's where we want to get rid of the else if. Because remember, a change selection statement like this, only one of these lines of code will be executed. If I want to move diagonally, I want to be able to move right and up at the same time. I never want to move right and left at the same time, so I could keep this as an else if for the right and left. But then I'd like to start this as a whole new if statement for the up and the down. And then I should be able to execute both of these lines of code at the same time. And that should now allow me to move diagonally. Awesome. And this is pretty slick, right? I don't have to worry about XB releasing keys at different times. It's just, hey, what key is being pressed? And it gives you pretty slick movement. Okay, cool. Anyway, I hope it helps you in your projects, right? We looked at a bunch of different keyboard-controlled player options. Have fun with that. Obviously, there's some things you can do to stop it from leaving the screen, right? We talked about rate of change before, I think, too, in some other lessons. You get like a jumping player, move side to side, but when you hit the up key, you can make it jump. All sorts of fun stuff. Okay, anyway, I'll stop there. Hope that made sense. Take care and see you in the next video.